so I'm going to give you 3 more myths, and this one I was going to say for the last, but it is really, really important and very mistaken. Lots of people think it. Beginners and experts think this. Fish grow to the size of the tank. Wrong. Big time wrong. Now, I understand where this myth comes from. Fish do give out hormones into the water, and when that hormone level, their body stops growing. True. That's just the skeleton in the body. Their insides, their intestines, the stomach, that continues to grow. This hormone is only meant for droughts. But all droughts end, water grows again, they can start growing again, and they can adjust. But if you have a fish that's constantly in a small tank, not allowing the body to grow, but its innards are still growing, it will die. Their innards will crush themselves, and that's why you can have a goldfish for 30 years, but most goldfish only last for 5 years. Tell me why? Because their innards crush themselves. Because goldfish can grow actually pretty big, and goldfish are one of the biggest reasons why people think that fish grow to the size of the tank. So there you go. When your fish is getting what you think is too big for the tank, either get rid of the fish, bring it to the shop, try to find a new home for it, or get a bigger tank. Because the alternative is its innards crushing themselves, and that's not a nice way to go. The second last myth: all tanks need a heater and a filter. Nope. Now, I'm not talking about saltwater. I don't know much about saltwater tanks. I'm a freshwater guy. But honestly, there's other ways to do it. Now, let's take the filters. Filters are a great way to get the water moving and to house those good bacteria. But you can get air rocks. You can get live plants. Live plants are probably the best for keeping a tank clean of all the bad things and putting oxygen into the tank. Plants. Live plants, just like the wild. But the easiest way is a filter. Not necessary if you have plants or a airlock. Heaters are great. It helps if you live in a place like Canada, let's say, where I am. But the truth is, most fish don't mind the ups and downs of the water. Unless it's the middle of the winter and your heater breaks in a power outage, let's say. Most houses house the nice temperature of water, good enough temperature of water for most fish to survive. Now, there are tropical fish that need the high temperature water. Obviously, those fish need a heater. But let's say my Oscar, if something happens to the heater in the winter, I'm not going to worry. The armored catfish, if the heater goes, I'm not going to worry. Same with grammies, not going to worry. The heater is just to help. Now, let's say your house is very breezy. Maybe a heater will be good for you. But if you live in a warm house, pretty much the warm house will be your heater. Your heaters are the fish's heaters, basically. Well, my fishing day's done, so I'll give you the last myth, and that is big tanks are harder to keep clean than small tanks. Where does that come from? I don't know. Makes no sense to me if you think about it logically. Now, would you rather be in a small car when somebody toots, or in a big aired out room? Obviously, you'd rather be in a big aired out room. Little changes don't affect big tanks. Small tanks, you have to keep on emptying and refilling. Every single time you empty it is another chance for a mistake to happen. Now, big tanks, lots of filtration, lots of room for algae to grow. But a small tank, same amount of algae is going to grow in that small tank, but you're going to see it more because it's such a small tank. You can use a like a tube and siphon water out of a big tank. You have to empty a small tank. So the reason why people say small tanks are easier, they're cheaper. It's good for a person who doesn't really know if they want to be in the fish keeping hobby. You get a small tank, get a betta, get a, heaven forbid, goldfish. But the truth is, if you should just research, and if you really want a fish, don't bother with the 5-gallon, 10-gallon, 15-gallon. If you want to start with fish, get a cheap 25-gallon, get some gommies, a bristle-nosed pleco, not a common pleco, those grow big. You don't want a common pleco in a 25-gallon, trust me. So get like some gommies and a 25-gallon, get yourself a simple filter, get yourself a simple heater. That's a great starters. You can get a 25-gallon at a garage sale on so many little websites like Garage Sale and Facebook Marketplace. You can get cheap tanks from there. You don't have to go to Big Al's or something. Big Al's, I love Big Al's, where I get all my fish, but you don't have to go to the big places like that to get big expensive. You can get used. There's nothing wrong with used. Now, just to tell you, here's why I say this. I have a 75-gallon Oscar tank, alright? I have a 30-gallon Grommy tank. I can't keep my Grommy tank clean if I tried harder. It is next to impossible to keep that thing clean. Yes, it's by a window, but the point is, I haven't cleaned my Oscar tank in over a year. That's right. I add fresh water to it constantly. I've never actually had to siphon anything out of it because it's so big. They clean themselves basically. You have some minnows in there that helps cleans it. But the filtration system is great. The water movement is great. I probably add water to it twice, maybe, well, say once a week I add water to it, which is from evaporation, which is the best way to filter out your water, believe it or not, is evaporation. Yeah, so I find personally bigger, better, easier. That being said, you don't want to go out and spend $10,000 on a 100-gallon tank if you don't know if you want to be a fish keeper. That's why I say 25-gallon would be beautiful. Do not get goldfish. Goldfish, nobody knows how big goldfish get. I told you about the going to the tank, size of the tank thing. Just go on YouTube, look up catching goldfish in the wild. You can see how big goldfish actually can get. So in conclusion, I'm going to say this. Biggest myth that you can ever be busted is all rules are set in stone. Incorrect. There are rules that should be paid attention. Don't put 2 male betta fish in a 5-gallon tank. Duh. But let's say Oscars. Oscars, you can't get proper tank mates. Incorrect. My sister had a Oscar that completely destroyed a armored catfish. Alright? My Oscar and my armored catfish sleep in the same log. Come on. No rule is set in stone. All tanks need filters. We already proved that. There's just so many rules out there that they change. Myths have been busted, new things are discovered. So there are guidelines. You should call every rule a guideline. There's suggestions. There's, oh, maybe you should do this for a beginner. This. But no matter what, there's going to be exceptions to those rules. Nature always finds a way, as Malcolm said in Jurassic Park. Nature will always find a way. So, no rule is set in stone. Hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you enjoyed the one fish I caught. At least I wasn't skunked. Till next time, keep fishing.